Welcome, everybody. It's another episode of Miscellaneous Candor, frank, honest, and otherwise outspoken. This is actually our special edition episode. Why? Because we've reached 10 episodes. That's right, 10 weeks straight. We've done it. We want to celebrate it, highlight it. So we have a special episode this week, just focusing on our current events pathway, topic line, discussion. And we brought Greg back because he loves to talk about geopolitical affairs. For some reason, there's a lot of cursing on this episode, so we both really got into it. However, I still think that it's really going to be insightful for you all. And if you love listening to us, you will like listening to this. But I did want to at least give you a disclaimer. All right, that's it. Here we go. Happy 10th week. Hi, everyone. As you know, this is our 10th episode of Miscellaneous Candor, frank, honest, and otherwise unspoken. And what we decided to do is actually have an interview with Greg. Greg's always doing something in the background, so I'm sure that's going to be fun for our audience to hear additional sound effects as we have this conversation.
I think the audience needs to know how domesticated the modern man can be.
I think that's true, because that's actually another conversation I'm going to be having. I should say we will have on this podcast later on. But let's talk about what you are an expert in terms of our podcast audience is concerned, and that is current events. Greg.
Current affairs.
Current affairs. So what's been going on? What's your take on what's happening? So much is going on, and there's 30 days until this election, even though I hate talking about politics on the podcast, but it's kind of hard to avoid considering we're 30 days out. But outside of that, yeah, right? So what's going on?
Everybody's talking about this Hezbollah thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it occurred to me this morning, I haven't heard Hamas mentioned or the Gaza Strip at all. So what happened with that whole thing? Is that just resolved? I mean,
are you asking, or are you just
it's kind of a
rhetorical, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's not, obviously
a real
not resolved at all.
Yeah,
so,
it goes without saying.
It's, it seems to me that old Benjamin Netanyahu has certainly successfully found a way to keep his ass out of court to the tune of the cost of thousands and thousands of lives and massive amounts of chaos. And
well, I will say this though. Did you notice that they said his ratings have gone up?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Internally, yeah.
He's rallied around a common enemy, and it's worked. Never mind, everybody's now forgotten about maybe looking into why the whole damn thing happened in the first place. I mean, did you see this Wall Street Journal article? It was a deep dive into these women that were manning this observation post.
Tell us about it.
So there was about, I think there was a post of about 20 women who were, maybe it was more, who were in this, as part of their regular service to the country, which in my opinion, we should probably have something like that too. And they were, their job was to observe the activities of Palestinians on the other side of the barrier on the Gaza Strip. And they started flagging that, hey, these guys look like they're practicing for taking this barrier, and they're even practicing taking hostages. Like, they could see them openly doing it, and they were just ignored by the bureaucracy and the military chain of command and the intelligence chain of command. And
Mm,
that those type of things aren't going to get a focus, and there's no accountability when they're too busy, having success, granted, admittedly, incredible success,
yes.
decapitating Hezbollah.
Yep. I mean, and it's not just here, but obviously, in this podcast, we're always talking about AI and technology and how it affects everyday life. And because it's not just in the United States, but in the world stage, people's attention spans are so small, and everyone's always looking for the bigger get in
Yeah,
terms of what captures their attention.
yeah,
And I
yeah,
think that speaks to your point in this particular situation.
yeah. And I think the other thing I've been thinking about is that is the collision with the domestic politics and the presidential race is really interesting because there's all these people particularly on the right, who are the MAGA Trumpers, are all I think they would admit to being isolationist, and they don't want anything to do with foreign entanglements. Let's get out of Ukraine, blah 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 blah. And then meanwhile, we gotta back Netanyahu, you know, like back the Israelis. And I'm like, I'm not saying you don't back the Israelis, but like put aside anyone's opinion of whether you do that or not. What's amazing to me is how short-sighted and contradictory the viewpoint is. We're isolationists. We don't want to spend money and waste our time and spill blood and treasure for foreign countries, but we'll back Israel, who admittedly, by any objective measure, is certainly doing the best they can to drag us into some type of conflict with Iran.
Okay, so I hear what you're saying. I know you have your thoughts on that. And I always try to have a different opinion about these things, independent of what I may personally think. I don't necessarily see it that way when, at least with the people I know who are MAGA, right? And even people who might be independents that could go either way, which is and I know what I'm going to do, but I'm just saying I am an independent from my thinking. So from that perspective, from my perspective, I think that it's it's easier for people to support Israel in this country because for a lot of generations that we have here, that's kind of been the norm, except for like Gen Z and Alpha, right? But if you're in Y, X, or Boomer, you've
Zero
just grown
Y?
up. Yes, yes.
Hmm.
You have known about this like most of your life. Like there's always been the fact that the United States support Israel, and I think it's easier to accept that. The Ukraine piece gets tricky for certain people because one, there's the whole Putin part of it, and two, there has been kind of this removal of historical context in terms of stability of the world. I think that to your point in our first podcast, what would Americans do if we were bombed like they did in London, like they did in Japan, right? Like they're doing right now in Beirut and Lebanon and even in Ukraine. We've never really seen that. We don't know what that looks like.
Well, what
And
is it
because
wrong
of
with that?
that,
We do,
what?
though. I mean, we know what that
Not
is.
9/11 is not the same as that. 9/11 was very targeted, focused, one-time event. I'm talking about ongoing attacks.
Oh, you mean
That's
like
what I mean. Like an
actual
actual
event, like a
war.
bombardment?
Yes, like a bombardment, like a war, right?
Yeah.
And we've never had that here.
No.
And I
No.
think that because of that, and without the historical context of what it would mean and understanding that we understand consequences in our immediate life, but not in the world stage when it comes to war. I think that's a problem with all Americans, independent of your political background,
I
because we just
agree.
haven't experienced it. And I think that that has a lot to do why people can say, okay, on this issue, I'm going to support Israel, but on this issue, I'm not going to support Ukraine because they don't see the common thread. Because unfortunately, I feel a lot of us as Americans, it's hard for us to step out of our own way. And many people can do it, but not everybody can, right? Step out of our own way and say, what would this be like if I stepped out of what my normal experience is every day and thought about how what could be if certain steps continue to happen. If I look at history, it's almost like even saying looking at history now is like a bad thing to say. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, it's kind of wild. I mean, I don't see how you can look at it. I don't know. It's
I
almost,
mean,
it, that phrase just makes me think we're just going further down the there is no truth, there is no fact dystopia path, which I don't like to think about. I mean,
I don't like to think about it either, but it's been coming up a lot about how there's a lot of people who are confused and who are what do they say?
Holocaust deniers.
No, not that. No, 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 no. I mean, I feel like Holocaust deniers are extreme at this point, even
They're
still.
still on the fringe at
Yeah, I
least.
think they're still way on the fringe. Yeah, I mean, that goes
we
without saying.
we
Yeah.
still all can agree that it's the Holocaust.
Yes, yeah, I feel like that is so
And I'm not
fringe.
laughing at the Holocaust happening. I'm laughing at that's how that's how low the bar is for us being realistic at this point.
Yes, exactly. So, um, my point is that if we look at this, they were saying that people who are quote unquote still undecided voters, that a lot of them feel like they don't know what the truth is. To your point, there's so much information out there, right? So much that people don't know what's real and what's not. And I think that
Yeah,
that's really, that can be, there used to be a sense of what's truth and what's not truth, but now it's kind of like, well, is this true? Is it not true? Did these people lie? Da, 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 da. All of this stuff. Um, so I mean, I agree with you. I, I don't like to think about it either, but it just keeps coming up.
yeah, it does.
It just keeps
It's
coming up.
wild stuff. It's wild
Okay,
stuff.
so I know you
I
have
mean,
so much to talk about this, but I've got to ask you because we haven't talked to you about this circumstance. What do you think about Diddy? Just give me your 3 minutes. 3 minutes.
the freak off.
The way you say
I mean, oh my god, I just don't understand. I mean, just maybe it's because I'm a married guy with a young child who's very active with complications, and I'm happy to have sex once or twice a week. I mean, that's but like, I'm just like, I'm good with that. I don't need to have the endless bottles of baby oil. I just don't understand. Like, how you talk about
Did you move because you went out a little bit?
been he has just had too much booty in his life and just went down a path where the only thing he can get off with is a freak off. I mean,
I know, right? I was listening to another podcast, because I do the whole podcast review piece on this podcast, and on another podcast it's called The Brilliant Idiots. It's with Charlemagne the God and this guy named, I think his name is Adam Schultz, and some other people. Anyway, it's pretty good. But one of the things they were talking about, they were like, he has no real friends around him, and I 100% agree. He cut off all the people who would be like, dude, what the fuck are you doing?
yeah,
What are you
yes.
doing?
What are you doing?
You are the top sort of black music mogul. You have all this money. You have all this that you've built for your umpteen kids. What are you doing? This shit is going to come back and bite you. And he
I mean,
cut all those people who would have told him that. Clearly, he told them to go away because that's what a real friend would. I don't care how fucking scared you are. You need to have somebody around you when you're at that point. And I know I am this person with you. No matter how you get,
Thank you.
they will say, I'm saying I would say this to you, no matter
Yes, and
how
I'm
big you
serious.
said, I would be like, I don't care if you got guns in here. You're not going to do anything to me. You need to calm down. Stop it. Knock it off.
Yeah,
Like, what are you
this is
doing?
absurd. You can't do
Yeah.
this.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
And so, yeah, that was just so crazy. And evidently he's been a drug addict for 15 years on like all kinds of drugs. I mean, like constantly, like literally just like living in a drug case, which again will mean why that's the only shit that can get him off because he's fucking high all the time, like
yeah,
on other shit.
yeah. I mean, it's wild shit. I like. I mean, is it just baths of baby oil? Like, I don't understand how you use that much baby.
I don't understand. I just see the baby oil memes. They're so hilarious.
Oh, they're so funny.
Okay, let's go back. Let's go back to it. I just had to ask because we had to talk to you about this.
Oh, it's way more
So,
lighthearted.
all right. So, I hate to bring this up, but I'm going to. What do you think about the election?
Well, hold on. Wait. I
Hmm?
don't close the loop on my thoughts on geopolitics.
On Diddy?
So,
Oh, okay,
no, not
geopolitics.
on Diddy.
Okay.
I'm all set with him.
Okay.
I mean,
Hello? Greg, we lost you. Where are you, Greg? You're talking
maybe
and I can't
China.
hear you.
Hello,
Greg, don't move. Don't move, Greg.
Robbie.
Okay, I hear you. Don't move.
Why? I can't stop moving. That's not what.
I know, but we were losing you. So wherever you are right now, stay.
Weird.
Okay,
We're in
go
the
on.
same
Okay,
area here.
just, I know, but you are erratic sometimes in your movements, Greg.
Yes, this is true.
Okay, go on.
China.
Oh,
I mean,
okay. Okay,
I
no,
don't know.
say it like
I mean,
Donald Trump. It's so crazy. You moved again. Yeah, I bet it was
they're
something
like,
really good.
they're like,
You,
yeah, sure, get distracted with that. No problem. We'll be over here continuing to arm ourselves. Like,
mm.
it's just,
We missed the first part of what you said, but I heard the arm yourself, so I understand what you're saying. We're all distracted with everything that's going on this side, and China, in the meantime, is arming themselves and growing as a
yeah,
military power. That's what you were
yeah,
saying, right?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know where it goes from here. If I had a magic wand, I would say you force the Israelis, like to basically say, look, you guys are gonna like the heart of this issue, and will defang Iran for the long term is just give
Mhm.
the Palestinians some type of two-state solution. Guys, just get it over with. Stop with this bullshit. Give them what they want, and then if everything still is going sideways, okay, then demolish them. But I mean, at this point, you're having to control territory anyway. You know?
I mean, I they've been having this conversation for years.
Yeah. I guess
I
I
just
just
don't know if they're ever going to get to a point where that can be the case. And I just feel like it's so complicated and there's so many, it's so much on, it's so much. It's just so much. It's it's not something I can even really talk about sometimes because it's so much. We talked about it a little bit on the last podcast, but I wanted to get your take, particularly in the test episode, because you're always doing deep dives on geopolitical issues.
yeah. Well, I appreciate it. I mean,
Okay.
I really am of the opinion though that it just seems like there is a lack of willingness to really tackle the really difficult underlying questions. And the reason that it's in our interest to make them tackle that is because if we can get that out of the way, then we don't need to be distracted and we can focus on confronting China and
Hmm.
Russia's highest stockpile of nuclear weapons in the world beyond our own and figure out, okay, how do we avoid cataclysmic destruction, which would be a nice thing to avoid.
I think so. I think everyone would agree with that. So, in our last sort of 6 to 7 minutes of our conversation, What are your thoughts on the election? I'm going to say something. I could totally be wrong, but I'm going to say it. I think Trump's going to win.
That's because you're being just pessimistic.
Why
I
would
mean,
I'm not. Why? Okay, clearly you think that would be pessimistic, but I think Trump is
I
going
think that's a pretty pessimistic viewpoint without my own
to
revealing my own personal preferences.
win.
Clearly. I don't know. I don't think that's a sure thing at all.
Okay.
At all. No, I think there's a good chance, old Harris pulls it out. There's certainly enough people out there that are like, yeah, Trump's absolutely batshit crazy. We all know this. I think a lot of people are starting to realize it. Um, and I'm hopeful that that results in a resounding defeat, actually. But I mean, that's just me being more optimistic, I guess.
I think that you're right. I think actually, even there are people who were going to vote for Trump that think he's batshit crazy. But I
Yeah.
think there is enough people who are willing to roll the dice. And again, I think that has to do with the fact that people are looking at their short term circumstances. Because
Yeah.
I know that Trump and Vance have said that they're not going to roll out 2025, but I know that's a lie.
Oh, they
That's a
totally
lie.
are.
They
Yeah.
totally are. And if you look at that, that's literally going to put us in a place where we've never been in a country, and people are not going to know how to operate and live on an everyday basis. If you read some of the stuff that's in there, it's fucking lunacy.
Well, the hilarious thing about the entire Trump Vance thing is they trot Vance out there, and now it's one thing for politicians to lie about campaign promises of what they will do, right? And then
Hmm.
it's like the action of there's the inaction, so an empty promise, but it's an entirely different thing for politicians to lie about the things that they won't do, action they
Yes,
won't take, so
I know.
therefore disrupting the status quo with action, I just would argue is a different thing. It's far worse,
Yeah, I agree.
right?
And here's my thing. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say something. I don't like Vance at all.
Well,
And
how
yeah,
daring
I
of you to
know.
say.
Right. I don't like Vance at all. But I am going to say that I do think, and this is just because of how he is, right? I do think that there is a part of Trump, the whole 2025 thing. I do think that there's a part of him that's like, I'm not going to do that because he hasn't even read it. Like, he doesn't even know what the fuck it is, right? So I think there is a part of him that's like, I'm not going to do that. Like, he wants the admiration of his crowds. It's clear. And so I feel like there's some things he might not do. But on the other hand, I feel like the people that would be in that whole cabinet are all about it because those are the same people that wrote it,
Yeah.
right? And for me, somebody who's like myself, I mean, that's literally an attack on my livelihood. Like, I would probably be in the house most of the 4 years if there is another opportunity after 4 years, because there's that. I'm going to be dictator on day one thing. Um,
Only for a day. Only for a day.
but I do think that there's enough people out there that really think that they don't know enough about Harris. I think that we've kind of pushed back a little bit on the is she qualified. I had a long conversation with someone about that. I had to communicate all of the things that she'd done. But again, this person was only getting their information from Instagram. And that's a
Right.
problem.
Actually, let's talk about this is a related topic that's been bothering me lately.
Okay.
Is the thing about like the post-truth concept, I think is the most dangerous thing like at a strategic level that we're facing, because I hear people all the time say, well, you can't, and these are reasonably like people I respect who are on both sides of the
Hmm.
political spectrum are now talking about, well, there's no true news anyway anymore, right? And I'm like,
Yeah, I know.
no, actually there is. Like, it's called the Financial Times, the Wall Street Journal, the Economist, yes, the New York Times, the Washington Post. If you
Hmm.
want to read more conservative, like, I mean, there is the Journal. There's also the um, National Review. I mean, there are, like, these people are doing actual journalism before they
USA
publish
Today.
something.
Yes.
USA Today,
Hmm.
yeah. I mean, these are still journalistic institutions.
Hmm.
Just because CNBC and Fox and CNN have taken a business model that, requires you to be, watching their ads all day on old school TV, or like on, clicking on the ads on their website, doesn't mean that the journalism itself is dead. I mean,
I
that whole
know.
proposition is some bullshit. It
No, you're
really
right.
is.
You're right. And I think the thing that's even worse is the idea that there are some real journalists. There are real people who are really looking to get objective views and just reporting on what people say
Yeah.
verbatim, independent of their like taking themselves out of it, like really doing it, doing the work, doing what that process is. And that whole discipline has been moved aside because of some algorithm on a fucking app with a lot of pictures
Yeah.
and
It's
videos. And it's crazy. You can just get on here. I mean, that's the great part about podcasting, right? You can say what you want. It's an opinion. You know that it is opinion conversation. These are all our
right.
opinion. I say that I'm not, all of that piece. But there's almost no longer anything that people want to proclaim as a source. And then when they say this, well, I saw on Instagram that this is not the case, or she's not qualified, right, for the role. I'm like,
Yeah.
she's more qualified than anybody actually on there. Now, whether you vote for her or not, that's another conversation. But qualification? Mm,
I mean, people would retort, well, Trump was actually president. So, and I mean, what I think is missing from the debate is actually what that invites, which is the question of, well, what did he
really
actually do
do.
during his term, and are you happy with it? I
Yes.
mean, if you are, that's fine, good for you, right? If you just got like a nice chunky tax cut and that's all you care about, then good for you. Okay, I guess you can say he's more qualified. Like, and based on your criteria, you would be right for you. I think for most people, it's like, well, he didn't really do fuck all.
Exactly. And
I
here's the
mean,
thing. He was president, but when Biden was running, no one said, is he qualified? No one asked the
um,
question, was Biden qualified? Right? And
yeah, it's a really good point, actually.
and he ended up beating it. I mean, Biden had never been president. He had been vice president. So has Kamala. She's been a
Yeah,
senator. So has Biden. He's run all these different Senate committees. So has Kamala. And she's won by running these elections in her area. It's not that she's been appointed to these positions. The same thing when she was
yeah,
AG of California, and the same thing when she was AG of San Francisco, and even when she was a prosecutor in Alameda County in California. I mean, this is somebody who has been focused. I don't, and also too, she ran for president when Joe Biden was running, and then she dropped out, and that's how she became his vice president. So I mean, and then people said Biden was qualified because he was in the room with Obama every time, and he took the same approach with her. So so you can say, yes, he was president, but you didn't say that when Joe Biden was. And again, to your point,
oh,
were
very,
you really
yeah,
happy
valid
with
point.
what Trump did? So, all
It
right.
is an
Hmm?
incredible. It's a very. I give you. I'll tell you. Thank you for pointing it out, because I think that double standard hadn't even occurred to me. And I'm not one to really be looking for double standards. I'm not hypersensitive to that stuff. I think sometimes it can be overblown. But that's really true.
Hmm.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
Huh. Huh. Well, audience, if that doesn't give you something to think about, I don't know what will. Thanks for joining us on Miscellaneous Candor. Frank, honest, And I forgot the third adjective.
Otherwise outspoken. Thank you,
Oh,
Greg.
there you go. There you go.
Have a good one. Thank you again, Greg, for joining
Goodbye,
us.
Robbie.
Goodbye.